Hi, I'm Lisa Andria, Transformation Life Coach. Welcome to the Ladies Who Leap podcast, where guests share their inspiring stories of leaping out of their comfort zone with confidence and power and into a life of purpose and fulfillment. Let's listen to their life-changing stories so that we can all learn how to gain the courage to take a leap of faith into a life that we love so that we can all be Ladies Who Leap. Let's get started. Welcome to the Ladies Who Leap podcast. I appreciate that you're taking the time to listen to the inspiring stories of people who took a leap of faith to reach new heights in their life. My goal is that their stories inspire you to take the first step of many to follow your own unique dreams. So today is a great privilege of mine to introduce you to a great friend and a great woman. After a career as a musical comedy actress, Chellie Campbell said, "Let's put the fun back in funds." She owned a bookkeeping service with 13 employees for 12 years and then created the Financial Stress Reduction Workshop in 1990. She is the author of 3 best-selling books, The Wealthy Spirit, Zero to Zillionaire, and From Worry to Wealthy, voted most inspirational speaker by Women in Management, Speaker of the Year by the Association of Women Entrepreneurs, and Rotarian of the Year by the Pacific Palisades Rotary Club. She is a past president of the Los Angeles chapter of National Association of Women Business Owners. In 2018, after speaking at the Women's Poker Association's first conference, yes, she is a poker player, she won the Golden State Ladies Poker Championship. So if you're living on peanut butter and jelly and would like to afford deli, call Chellie. That's her saying. I love that.
I like it too.
I have to say that you're the most successful person and truly famous person to be on my little podcast. I am so honored and excited to have you on here. The hardest part is going to be limiting this to 25 minutes. So I'm going to give my listeners a heads up. Chellie has had such a rich life and has so many wonderful stories. And before we go any further, I'm going to really recommend that you go onto Amazon as soon as this is over and buy her first book, The Wealthy Spirit. It is a daily affirmation book. I'm sure we're going to get into the little story about that. She taught me about daily affirmations. I use that book on a daily basis. Now I've almost memorized all the affirmations, so I just flip through it and the right one comes to me that I needed to hear that day. In fact, I know I haven't had you speak yet, but I just have to brag a little bit. I want everyone to know that Chellie makes such an immediate impact on everyone that she meets and who hears her speak, that she was on a podcast with Tom Arnold called Divorce Party. And he told her afterwards, "My life would be better if I listened to you every day." And you can listen to Chellie every day. She does have services. You'll have to, when she tells you how to get a hold of her, she does come on every morning at 9 o'clock, right? For a live 15 minutes. So you can.
Only 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Oh, even quicker. Yeah.
Get it.
Daily dose. And it's the daily dose of Chellie. Welcome, Chellie.
Thank you, Lisa. You're such a doll. It's always a pleasure to see you and talk with you and be in your shining presence.
Oh, when I met you and I went through your workshop, you literally changed my life about how I looked at daily affirmations. And now they're such a part of my daily life. It just, I can't imagine not doing it ever again. I mean, it is such a strong part of my daily life. I even, it's so much so my cousin actually gave me a manifesting mist. So every time I do them, I spray it, smell it, and say my daily affirmations.
Yes, anchor it in the physical reality as well. I have a friend who took my class and she wanted to go to Australia on a vacation, but she was on low budget, couldn't really afford it. So she invented an affirmation. I now receive free first-class travel and accommodations all around the world. And being a physical therapist, she said, you have to get your body engaged. And that made sense to me. So all around the world. Well, she got a gift of airfare free round trip anywhere in the world from a friend of hers who was a travel agent who had never given her anything before. And then she was talking with some friends about it. And this man said, well, where are you going to stay in Australia? She said, well, I'm not sure. And he said, well, if you're going to Sydney, I own a condo there. And the family that's been renting has moved out and the new family isn't moving in for a month. So if you want to go now, you can stay there for free.
Ah,
Ba-bing.
point
And
made.
affirmations, let me just start by saying this to people because, affirmations have been around for a long time. And my publisher of my first book actually said, we got to take all the affirmations out. I can't go to my 40 salespeople and say we're doing another affirmation book. And I said to her, oh, so you think everybody knows this already? She goes, well, yeah. I said, well, let me ask you a question. She goes, what? I said, are you doing them? She goes, I said, positive affirmations about money specifically. Are you doing them? She goes, no. I said, then let me give you my fabulous 14 abundance affirmations and do them every day for 21 days and then tell me what happens. If nothing, we'll take it out of the book. I'm never taking it out of the book, but we could, I think she's not doing my book anyway because she doesn't get it. So it's risk-free for me to just challenge her. So I did. And God bless her soul, she did the affirmations. She did them on the drive to work. She did them at night before she went to sleep. And she called me 3 weeks later and she said, Chellie? I said, yeah. She says, I can't believe what's happening. I'm getting money out of the air. People are paying me back loans. I didn't remember they owed me. I got a bonus at work. I've never gotten a bonus here. I'm getting bigger book deals. The money is rolling in. I can't believe it. I said, well, is there anything else you're doing differently? She goes, no. I said, but you do the affirmations every day. She goes, yeah. I said, so could the affirmations stay in the book now? She goes, yeah. And
See,
I had a book deal the week later.
and boy, they change. I know you've gotten a lot of comments about this. So thank God you kept them in there because it's literally something that saved my life in a lot of ways, really a lot of ways, and changed the way I looked at things. And then when I became a coach, it was such an important part of my leap off point in
Yes.
doing that and having that belief. And I've just taken it to other levels, but my gosh, it was the first thing that started things. So
Yeah.
your fun story, and I said it a little bit in your bio, is that you went from wanting to be an actress to a financial stress reduction life coach.
Yeah.
It's not only fascinating, but it's a lesson around finding and trusting your why as it developed throughout your life. Can you share that story?
Yeah. I will tell you the why for me was always I want to have fun. I
Mm.
don't want to be a drudge in an office not having a good time. And that's when my dad says, you got to get a job, and I'm looking at the jobs that were available to me as, a teenager looking for a summer job. And I went, yuck, there's got to be something better than this. And I wanted to be an archaeologist. I had all kinds of things that I tried on, but didn't really work. And I said, well, why don't I just to be pretending to be all those things and be an actor? And I love dance and I love singing. So I just went for musical comedy and I did that. I was a drama major at UC Santa Barbara. Michael Douglas and I did a show together there. And I came to Hollywood to be a star. Anybody recognize me? No, it did not happen. What I found out was that I loved it in school because you get into the in group, and you're always in the next show, and a long run was 4 weekends. I did a show at Disney, 5 shows a day, 5 days a week for 9 months. I thought I would die of boredom. I had always thought all I wanted to do is sing and dance for a living, and then I did it and I hated it. I mean, really. Now, it might have been different if I had gotten like a job starring on a television series and it's different every week, but no, I did Hello Dolly with Martha Ray and the lead guy doing Cornelius. had been doing 8 shows a week of Hello Dolly for 3 years. And I went, oh, what else is there? So I experimented a little. And then I had a temporary secretarial job for 2 weeks. And on day 3, the president of the company said, you fill it really well here. We'd like you to stay and go full-time permanent. I said, I can't do that. I'm an actress. I have to go on auditions in the middle of the day. And he said, okay, you can go. What? Okay. So I said yes. And so then I would say I have an audition and they would wish me luck and I'd go. And sometimes I'd get a commercial or whatever. And then their office manager quit and they promoted me into that job. I said, but that's finance. I don't know anything about that. They said, we'll teach you, you'll learn. And I went, okay. Because here's the signature thing. When I'm about to take a risk, I consider the downside. If it's not death, I do it. Just take a chance. Just go for it. Be in the sea of unknowing, because to get anywhere else other than where you're at, you have to swim in the sea of unknowing. I don't know if this is going to work out. I don't know if I'm going to suck at this. I don't know if it's going to be fabulous. And that is the most, I saw a meme on Facebook once. I loved it. Down in this corner, it said your comfort zone. And out here, it said where the magic happens.
Mhm.
The sea
That's my Ladies Who Leap. That's exactly where I got that from. I loved that.
exactly.
Mhm.
You're either always operating from fear or faith. But if you look at it, fear is just faith that bad things are going to happen.
Mhm.
Why would you want to have faith in that? Why look at that? See, this is what the affirmations do for you is it takes you out of looking at what's the possible bad thing that's going to happen and look for what's the joy in it, what's the fun in it, what's the possible upside. Maybe this will be a career. Maybe I'll make lots of money. Maybe I'll be famous. Maybe whatever it is you want. Maybe you'll be a painter and spend days alone painting, but you'll sell beautiful art to all kinds of people all over the world. I mean, the sky's the limit. What do you want? Focus on what you want and dream about what you want and think about what you want. And every thought is an affirmation that is programming the algorithm of life. The algorithm of life is what you think about, you bring about. We go on TikTok, we go on Facebook, we go on Instagram, and all the social media. And whatever you click on, that social media platform sends you more of that. So what you're thinking, doom and gloom, the universe goes, oh, that's what they're interested in. I'll send more doom and gloom. So that's why you have to do affirmations, and that's why they work so well.
Yeah. Because what you say, just like you said, how did you say it? What you think about is what you bring about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because and I'm learning a lot about this because I'm now a master NLP practitioner. I know that your unconscious mind is listening and experiencing, especially metaphors and stories every second. It processes 2 million bits per second, where your conscious mind is only 126 bits. It's kind of embarrassing in a way. Your unconscious mind is like this supercomputer, and our conscious mind is like, what do they call it? One of those old dial-ups or something. That's what I think about. So exactly what you say, those positive affirmations keep the self-talk positive
Correct.
so that you can see the possibilities.
And so you're more likely to say yes to the new scary thing.
Yeah. And then when you feel uncomfortable, that is your sign that you're growing, that you're going into something that you have never done before. It's maybe a dream that you have. It may be something you really want to do. And so what if you're uncomfortable? So what if something goes wrong? Chellie, I'm sure that a lot of things in your course of, because we didn't finish your story, but you became that office manager. And then from there, there's more to the story. And I'm sure you had things that happened, didn't ruin everything, right?
No, it's like I did the office manager thing for 4 years. And then I thought, well, it was a recession. The company wasn't doing well. What else is there? That's what I'm always looking at. What else is there? And I had a degree in drama, so why don't maybe I'd like to be a director, a producer, a writer or something. So I went to work for a big motion picture producer, and there was so much screaming and yelling. At the end of 2 years, I said, I really don't want this. I said, God, send me back to one of those office manager bookkeeping type jobs. And it was like 3 days later, I opened up the want ads. This is old style, the want ads. And there was an ad for a bookkeeping person to manage a small bookkeeping person or company. And so I went on the interview, and they really never asked me a technical question. All they wanted to know was, could I work with difficult people? I said, really? Let me tell you some stories. I had some juicy ones. And they hired me. And then it was me and this other guy who was studying for his CPA exam at UCLA. And they kept handing me things that were like payroll tax returns. I had never done that. I didn't know anything about that. I was really out of my depth, but I bought a couple of books, and every night, every day I would say, can't get to that yet. We're really in a mess here. I'm trying to figure things out, but I'll answer that question tomorrow. And then I would go home and I'd read up on the book. And finally, it was like 2 weeks later, I took this guy aside. His name was Masood. And I said, Masood, these technical things they think I know, I don't really know. He goes, I know. I said, but what I do know is how to organize, how to deal with difficult people, and how to get this thing running. And I'm going to get more clients in here. Then we can hire some more people. You cover me on the technical stuff. I'll cover all the difficult people. Just hand them to me, and I'll get you a raise in 3 months. Deal? He goes, deal. And I did. I hired 4 more people that week. Not that week, that year. And then the 2 owners who didn't work in the business, they just owned it. They were attorneys. They wanted good bookkeeping for themselves and limited partnerships and stuff. And so they came to me and they said, you act like an owner. We think you should be one. So here's 20% of the business.
Wow.
I was 35 years old, and that was the first time I had ever thought about owning a business.
Wow.
Yeah. So I said, okay. And so I built it up to 13 people, and I bought them out. And we had gone from 80,000 in sales a year to 420,000 in sales a year.
That's huge.
Yeah, it was really good.
So much for your acting skills and your personality, and you're gaining new clients. Perfect for that. Perfect.
Is sales. Sale, everything is sales. You want your kid to pick up their room, that's a sale. Do your homework, that's a sale. Hey, honey, you want to go to the movies tonight? That's a sale. Everything's selling. I call it convincing, just convincing somebody to get excited about what you want.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there are plenty of people that want that. But
Yeah.
there's also plenty of people that don't want that. So I was just writing today about you've got to be able to repel people. This is an important skill. Because you
That's
want
the boundaries. That's when boundaries come in.
Yeah, and you want to attract the people that you want and repel the people you don't want.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I want them to go away far and fast. So I joke, I laugh, I play games, I have fun, and I wear blue nail polish, and some people don't like that at all. Oh, and I wear gold Crocs.
I love it.
That's what I wear. I used to wear gold tennis shoes, and then I had a foot problem, so I can't wear a back on a shoe anymore. Oh well. So I got Crocs, and my little grandnephews taught me how to put the charms in them. So I bought gold charms. It's so fun. Make it all fun, and I get complimented on my shoes all the time because some people think that's charming. Now I show up at a business people, some people think that's just outrageous, and you should never show up like that at a business meeting. That happened to me once. I was going to give a speech at the Jonathan Club downtown LA. very high net worth individuals, everybody suity, wearing the pointed Jimmy shoes, and I'm wearing my gold tennis shoes. And when I got out of the car, the valet looked at me and he said, "Oh, you can't come in here." And I said, "What? Why not?" He said, "Well, we have a dress code." I said, "And?" And he pointed to a sign and it said all the things you couldn't wear. And number one was gym shoes,
Oh, no.
sneakers. And I said, "Oh, well, they mean dirty gym shoes that are all worn out. These are gold, they have diamonds on them." He goes, "Mm-mm, sneakers, no, it's on the list." I said, "I'm the speaker tonight." He goes, "Don't you have any other shoes?" I said, "Mm-mm." He says, "Okay, but hurry." I ran across the lobby and got in the elevator and I gave my talk, and all these women are just dressed to the nines, not like with me. And this woman comes up to me afterwards and she said, "That was a really great speech." I said, "Thank you." She said, "But you really should dress more appropriately if you're going to talk about a serious subject like money." And I said, "Oh, well, I don't think you got the point of my talk because I think we all need to not be so serious about the money." And she walked away. But you know what? That's repelling the people you don't want. She wanted me to be in this square. I am not in that square. Maybe you have noticed, you who are listening, you have seen me.
So your whole thing too is, and a lot of other coaches talk about it, but this is really your specialty, is about how people think about money. And
Yeah.
you even have people kind of put in some categories too, and we can get into the dolphin, the shark, and the tuna. I definitely want people to hear about that. But first, talk a little bit about people's attitudes towards money, the scarcity issue, the childhood, how your parents talked about it. How do you
Well, see, that's all part of the 60,000 thoughts a day that you have, right? And we're trained, we're in patterns, we're in habits. So if growing up, every time you talked about money with your parents, it was, "What do you think I made of money?" And money doesn't grow on trees, and you got to work hard for the money, and all of this stuff is what you've got. You've got all of this fear and lack and limitation ideas built up around the idea of money. So that's one of my first affirmations is people love to give me money. I mean, if you're in business, isn't that what you want? If you have a job, isn't that what you want? That people just go, "Oh, here's the money and you are so worth it. I am happy to pay you." Yeah, let's refocus. So, but if you've grown up with it and you haven't learned this, you haven't heard people talking about this, then you're still doing the love of money is the root of all evil. And especially as a spiritual person, I grew up going to church and Sunday school every Sunday of my life. And it was like when I first started questioning spiritual principles and, gee, the Jewish people think something different and the Hindu people think something different. Are they all going to hell? Really? That doesn't seem quite right to me. I had questions, but I even was afraid to question because maybe that was the devil talking. You know, so much of life is how you are programmed because when you get programmed into a cult, which everything is a cult, basically. I'm in the cult of positive vibes, which I like really fine, but that's what I focus on. But if you're in one of the negative cults, you're afraid to even question because something bad will happen to you. No, 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 no. When bad things happen, I mean, bad things happen to me, especially when I'm swimming in the sea of unknowing. I make mistakes. But that's what you have to cherish as, "Oh my God, I really screwed that up. Okay, now I've learned something." And then you roll with it and you get better. It's like I heard Jack Canfield once years ago said, people give up because they make a mistake. He said, "Did you ever see a little kid trying to walk? They suck at it. They fall down, they take one step and crash, but they get up again, don't they? They don't go, 'Oops, fell down. That's bad. So I guess I won't walk this lifetime. I'll just crawl everywhere.' No, you just keep going for it until you get it. Or you decide, what this getting is about is not what I really want. What I'm seeing as I'm experiencing it, like I did with musical comedy acting, it was like, this isn't how I thought it was going to feel. I'm not as happy as I thought I was going to be doing it. So, what else is there?
Yep, it's a shift. You can always shift. You can always make a change. Nobody says you have to pick something and stick with it if it's not for you. Now, you
Yeah.
do need to keep trying if it's something that you really want to do and not let making mistakes stop you. Don't let challenges stop you, because I do know someone that
Yeah.
in most of their life, as soon as they hit a challenge, they stopped. And it was their coming to a realization that you have to be comfortable with making mistakes. How do we all think that super successful people got there? You think that they took every step perfectly well and just got
Yes,
right in where, like really easy?
that's what I
No.
thought. I
They-
thought, like the Beatles were just great from the beginning and everybody recognized it. Nope. I think it was Universal said the Beatles aren't going to do anything in the American market. You know, it's like everybody has the nose. It's like years ago, Faith Hill released an album and this song Breathe was on the radio everywhere. And I loved it. And I thought, she's so good. They instantly recognized her. No, this was on her fourth album. I had never heard of her before that. So I love reading biographies of successful people because it just tells you how no, they got nowhere. When I was writing The Wealthy Spirit, well, first of all, I was having good success with people in my workshops when I started doing them. And I just wanted to make it fun and illuminated and easy so people could just start getting in the groove of it. And people started telling me that I should write a book. And I said no for 8 years.
oh my goodness, 8.
Eight
Wow.
years from 1990 to 1998. I said,
Wow.
no, I read books. They're too hard. There's no way I can write a book. I can write a note. I can write a newsletter. I can write an article, not a book. Book's too hard. And and then there was a woman in the 8th year who took my class and she said, Chellie, you have to share this with other people. Said, because I'm here in your workshop, but what am I going to do about my mother-in-law in New York and my girlfriend in Arizona? They can't come to LA for 8 weeks to take your class. And I said, well, I was beginning to think maybe I should write a book. She goes, please do that. And I heard it. It went in. And I said, I really do have tools that are helping people. And, then it was like, how do you write a book? And I went to a seminar to learn that from the Chicken Soup for the Soul guys, right?
Wow.
And I got turned down by everybody in terms of getting an agent. And then finally, a connection of a connection said yes. And but even then, I got I got a deal with Harper San Francisco. They had a series of books called 365, and they were page-a-day books. And by this time, I had figured out that the way to write the book instead of big long chapters, to write my little stories from the class. And I'll just do a story on every page, like the ones I've been telling here. And I thought I was a genius with this idea until I'd written 100 and realized I had 265 more to do. So I was going every night, please, God, send stories. I was talking to people, can I put your story in my book? And of course, people were charmed because they want their name in a book. And then they're guaranteed going to buy it when it comes out because it's their story and their name in it. So I had 50 of those. Okay. And and so then Harper San Francisco was going to publish my book, and I told everybody, I announced it at every networking meeting. I sent out a newsletter, and 4 days later they canceled it.
See, and some people worry, I'm going to just stop you for a second, that oh my God, it's going to ruin my whole life. How am I going to look at, with, you
Yeah.
had shared it with everybody and then they didn't do
Yes.
that. Wow.
Yes. Let me tell you, this is a secret that a lot of people don't know. Well, first of all, I just cried. I just went to bed and cried. And the next morning I got up and said, well, there are 6,000 publishers of books. This is just one. So for some reason, they're not the right people to publish me, and I'm going to find one. So there. Okay, that's the kind of attitude you have to have after every failure. Well, I'm just going to overcome this. So I've overcome lots of stuff in my life. Thank you very much. So then I made an announcement to everybody, and people were so wonderful and so supportive. And you're going to get somebody else. And yeah, your ship sank, and I've had ships sink too, but you're going to build another ship, and the next one's going to come in on the wave carrying treasure. And it's just wonderful. So then you start again.
Yeah. And what it meant was that particular publisher was not meant for you.
That is correct.
Letting that go opened up another door, and
Mm.
then you got your first book. And then are they the same publisher from the first book as the other two?
Yes, all three.
There you go. And they're all wonderful, everybody. Oh my goodness, all of them are wonderful.
Yeah.
One thing that you do is and you talk about this both because that's where I learned about it was in your workshop. You surround yourself with a certain type of people,
Yes.
and you don't surround yourself with two other types of people. Please explain that, because everybody, you need to listen and you need to be a dolphin, but go ahead.
I got a wonderful message from a marketing class I took many years ago. And he said, as you're going through your marketing, you want to design it to do two things: attract the people you want and repel the people you don't want. And I'm going, I'm a good girl. I'm a nice girl. I wasn't raised to repel people. Well, how do you even do that? And it's by being true to yourself and being who you are and not dressing up in the Jimmy shoes and the suit if that's not your personality. So you get gold Crocs and you attract the people who like somebody who's wearing gold Crocs. See?
Mhm.
And I love being fun with money. Put the fun back in funds, and most people are pretty deadly dull when they talk about finance. So I just wasn't going to be that. So if you make it fun, then more fun people come. And the stick in the mud, stay away. It's very fun. So I had this screamer, yeller boss people. And I said, well, I definitely don't want people like that. And everybody calls mean people sharks. And there was a book by Harvey Mackay called Swim with the Sharks Without Getting Eaten Alive. And I said, well, I need this. I need these tools. But by the end of the book, I said, but why even swim with sharks if you can swim with dolphins? And that's when I said, I just want to swim with dolphins. So if somebody's showing me teeth and being mean, I'm getting out of the water. I'm going to go find me some dolphins. Dolphins are beautiful. They look pretty. They're jumping out of the water. They even look like they're smiling. They have a permanent smile on their faces. And they swim in schools and they protect other fish in the sea. And sharks are just eating machines. It's not their fault. They were born like that. They got big teeth. They're going to eat you. They see the whole world as food. You can't make friends with them. They're going to eat you. Tuna or the food. See, I was looking at sharks and dolphins and dividing people up like that, but I saw there were a lot of people weren't either one. They weren't fabulous and they weren't terrible. So they were the poor in spirit, if you will. They were the people that just weren't getting along and kept attracting sharks. I always say I'm a tuna in recovery.
Yeah, and I always think of them being like the victim, or the people that complain a lot, and
The
they suck
angry
you dry.
tuna. Oh, yeah, yeah, the angry tuna, always going on and on about how their life is awful because of these people over there. And yeah, no, 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 no.
You want to surround yourself with dolphins. And I'll say every person that I've met through you has just enhanced my life. I'll have to tell you after we're done. The last one that you referred me to has really taken a huge role in my life, and
I'm so
just
glad.
amazing. Yeah, I'll tell you all about that. So one thing, and we'll end here, and then I'll ask you the question that I always ask my all of my guests. But you always say, and this might be actually the answer to the last question: if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yes.
And so just kind of talk to the guests about how finding your purpose and being open and willing to take that first step, how it impacts your life.
Oh, well, suddenly you're having a good time, and suddenly you're creative, and suddenly you're open to hearing your inner voice.
Mhm.
So, like, right before 2020, during the Christmas holidays, I was just sort of lying around recovering from a surgery, and I just gave myself permission to lie around and do nothing. And whenever I do that, people say, "Do you meditate?" I say, "Well, I call it napping." But that's what my voices speak to me. And this voice said, "You got to get your workshop up on Zoom." And I went, "Yeah, I should do that. I've seen this Zoom thing. I've been to a couple. I got to do that." And so in January, I got my class up on Zoom. And then I said, well, if I'm going to do Zoom, then I have to do Facebook Live video. And my friend Molly, who took my class years ago, is teaching that. So I'll go take her class. And I learned to do Facebook Live video in February. And in March, we were locked down with COVID and nobody could go anywhere or do anything. And I was already set up with an online business just from listening to the inner voice, which
That's
we
it.
all need to do.
Yep. Yep. That is it. So you have a lot of quotes and positive affirmations. This is like kind of pulling into a bag of like thousands of things, I'm sure. But I always have my guests share their favorite quote, mantra, or positive affirmation because I know that even one person hearing what you have to say or what the guest has to say, and if it changes their life, it was worth them listening.
Yes. Okay,
So,
I have
yeah.
one. And it's up for me right now because I went down to Hollywood Park Casino to play poker yesterday. They have a tournament for a special brand of poker called Big O. And Big O is Omaha, where you get 4 cards. Big O is 5 cards instead of just two with Hold'em. And
Yeah.
you try and make the best low hand and the best high hand.
Hmm.
So I had played in this tournament for a couple of weeks and not gotten anywhere, not even lasted to the first break. And I go, what is wrong with this picture? I used to win these things and I was out of practice. And then yesterday I went down and I said, I haven't been doing the affirmations. I've been worried about the cards and what was happening instead of thinking positive and that the cards are falling my way. And so one of my favorite affirmations is, I am a winner. I win often and I win big.
I love that one. I do. That is one of the ones on my list.
Yeah. And I remember I used to do that all the time while I played poker, and I'd sort of gotten out of the habit because I didn't play all the 4 years of COVID. I didn't play much. And so I went, wait, what are you think? You're not feeling good and you're not acting good, and you need to start to. So we had a break. I started doing these affirmations. I started getting all my cards were just the right ones. I was winning and winning and winning. And there were about 45 players, I think 45 or 50, just a little tournament. But I won it, first place.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Okay, everybody that's listening, and you do have to believe that what you're saying is true and is going to happen. You have to have the faith, you have to believe in the universe, you have to believe in whatever your higher spirit is, that it's going to happen. When you say it, you believe it. That's really
Yes.
important.
And you can even get angry about it. You can even say, I should have been taught this years ago, but now I've got the magic and I expect you to make it work for me, God and the universe. I did that once when I needed some money. My third book was coming out. I needed marketing money, but I had taken a lot of time and off writing the book and not working. So I went, listen, I'm going down to the bicycle casino and I want to win that jackpot today and win $20,000. I need it for marketing. Give it to me. And I just demanded it. And then I went down, and about 3 hours after I did that, I won the jackpot, $20,000 that day. Okay.
Okay, okay. Very good point taken. I hope everybody understands the power of positive affirmations and exactly what you're doing when you're doing it. You're putting the positive thought in your mind, even in your unconscious, out to the universe, and that's why it comes back to you.
And then you expect it, and you don't just sit on your couch. You take some action, like I wanted to win $20,000 where I know where it is. So I'm going to go down there and put myself in the way of that happening. And
Yes.
if it hadn't happened that day, I would have gone back the next day, because I know I have a skill and a talent for this.
Yeah.
So That's it. It's just like I didn't give up the book either.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
you published, now you have 3.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
you're influencing and helping so many people. So how can everybody get a hold of you? And mind you, I am going to put these links in the description, also links to the books and everything, but how can people reach you?
It's easy. My name is Chellie, Chellie. My email is chellie@chellie.com. My website is chellie.com. So if you get the spelling of my first name, you've got me forever, pretty much. And I'm all over Facebook and Instagram and everywhere. So it's easy to reach out to me. Friend me on Facebook. I'll say you're a friend of Lisa's, and I will friend you immediately.
And if you want to put fun back in funds, I'm telling you, Chellie Campbell is the one person that can do that for you. It is such a joy every time I talk to you, let alone on having you on my podcast. It was such an honor. I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate you sharing all your wisdom and the fun stories. And there's so much more. I'm telling you, you got to get her book.
Well, let me tell everybody this too. I'm 76 years old. I could be retired. I could be, but what am I going to do? Lie on the beach? For how many days is that going to be interesting? There's nothing more empowering to me and fun in my life than being able to share wisdom with people who might make their lives better. And then they send me a little email and say, my life is better because of you. And I just go, it's like talking to you. This is so empowering. And that's what happens when you meet other dolphins, because they have power and they give you the power and you give them the power. And it's the cycle of power and love and joy and happiness. That's what life is for.
Yeah, it's not for just sitting around. It is to help other people, to share the good energy, to be positive and accept the positivity that comes back to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
love it. Well, gosh, everybody, thank you for listening to the Ladies Who Leap podcast. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe, and we have a lot more very interesting interviews to come. So thank you again and have a great day. Thank you, Chellie.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thanks so much for listening or watching. Please subscribe to the Ladies Who Leap podcast to be notified of new episodes. And I would love to hear from you. Let me know what works, what doesn't, and if you have a story to tell, please reach out. Come join the Leap community at the Ladies Who Leap Club Facebook group. Remember, leaping out of your comfort zone is where the growth happens.